Hi, my name is Stephen Ketch with Tonimo, and I am working on customer support and success. Today, I'd like to talk about how to manage your order. And so the first thing we're going to do is organize your order management panel a little bit. The second thing we're going to do is walk through how 95% of you will use the order management panel. And then afterwards, I'll go through some extra little actions like how to reschedule an order, change an invoice, add some services to an order, or remove them. But first, I just wanted to give you kind of a clean look at how to manage most of your orders. So before we get started, I want to take a look at organizing this view. I can hit this little plus marker, and I can remove some things that I don't care about. Like, for example, if I don't care about seeing the time of the order, I can just eliminate that from the order. Or I can add things that I do care about, like the property website link or the deliverables link later on in the process. So I just encourage you to do a little bit of customizing if that's helpful to you, to eliminate those things you don't care about and add those you do. All right, so next, let's talk about the story of this order. It's come in from the customer, and it's going to land in the pending status. We have pending, in progress, and completed. We have two other little statuses, but we're only going to worry about these first three. When that order comes in, I recommend doing a little bit of what I call quality control. I'm not talking about looking over every single detail on this order, but at a minimum, I just recommend taking a look at, all right, so this is a pretty good sized order, and I can see the address that it's involved in and the neighborhood it's in. And I'm going to look at, okay, so it's a 2,500 square foot home, and I can see what services they ordered here and here. And I'm just going to do a little gut check. Is this an appropriate sized order for this kind of neighborhood? Or is it a 5,000 square foot home, but they only ordered drone photos? Well, maybe that's worth giving them a call and doing a little bit of a sales consultation with them. Or maybe it's not. Regardless, that is something you do or you don't have to do. The only thing you do have to do is at some point, the order has to move to in progress. Now, when I click in progress, that order is going to jump down to the in progress status. And we're going to do a few things on this order. First of all, we've created those services in the background. So now you see that they're blue. So they are treated like real services. And another thing that we're doing right now over the next 30 seconds or so is we're creating a Dropbox folder. Now, the way that I have my portal set up, it's creating both the raw folder structure and the final order structure. And what I mean by that is, let's say that the order is now in progress, the photographer goes out on the shoot, they come back, and they want to upload their raw assets. Well, they can just jump straight into Tonimo, click on deliverables, click this little shortcut link to raw, and this is where they're going to upload their raw assets. So for this order, I only have, as you can see, a home photos and a cinematic video. And so we've created one folder for each service. If I had ordered additional services, there would be additional folders, and I would upload the correct assets as needed. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into my demo assets and go ahead and upload. I could upload a branded and unbranded version of the video, but in this case, for simplicity, I'm just going to upload one, and I just need to upload my raw assets. All right, so Dropbox processes those, upload those, and now you just send this URL off to your editor. Or if your editor has their own proprietary editing process where they want you to submit it to a different software or whatever, then this is obviously something you wouldn't do, but just most customers are. So your editor gets this folder, they do their edits, and now they're ready to deliver back to you those final deliverables. Well, there's two ways they can get there. They can get there by just clicking the final button here on the right-hand side if they have access to your portal. If they don't, they just simply need to click the deliverables URL, and that's going to pop them over to the deliverables folder structure the same way as if they had clicked this button. So this is going to be the deliverables that your customers, the final deliverables that your customers are going to get. Well, I just uploaded those to the wrong place. So let's go ahead and delete those guys. And let's go ahead and get the, what on earth did you just do, Dropbox? All right, Dropbox is having a little conniption fit. All right, well, let's just go ahead and get the video uploaded in there. Let's go back. Let's go to the home photos and get those home photos. So we'll just pretend that these are the final deliverable assets that I'm going to be sending to the customer. All right, so those are just getting all processed. So once those are complete, we can go ahead and sync those delivery files. That's going to pull those assets into Tonemo, and it's also going to take your full resolution assets that your editor gave you and turn them into your MLS-sized assets as well. And so your editor doesn't need to export those. Your customer's going to get the full and the MLS-sized assets from us. All right, so we've got all our assets in there, and we'll click sync. Just as a quick note, when you click sync, it's a little bit slow the first time because our server is waking up, but each additional one is quicker, and also we do store them in a queue, so if you're processing 5 orders at a time, don't sit here and stare at the queue waiting for it to go up. You can process each of those. And we are wrapping up. So now I can see that my last sync was a success, the time and date that I did it, and I can click this little out arrow now to show me a preview of the delivery experience. So this is just my little, sanity, final quality sanity check. This is what the customer is going to see when they get their assets and how it'll present to them. So I'm able to see all of my images. I'm able to see a preview of my video. And because I haven't paid, I will hit pay and download. However, I'm going to stop here and go back because we haven't actually sent this to the customer yet. So we'll take a look at that page a little further in the future, in a minute. So to get these assets into the customer's hands and get them an invoice that they will pay you, we just can click on the in progress and move this to the completed status. Now, all of this information that's loading up here is based off of a template, so if you're finding yourself editing this every time in the same way, we just need to update your template so that it'll preload properly. But we can do things manually, like adding additional emails, changing the subject. Maybe you can add a little, one-off message thanking them for their first order or whatever. And this is one of my favorite features. We have send later, so that if you're working on your business at 11 o'clock at night and you're just trying to process orders, but you don't want your customers to think you're available at 11 o'clock at night, you can just go ahead and click the date, set it for tomorrow, and set it to send out at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. or whatever it is you want to do. But for now, I'm going to uncheck this box, and I'm just going to click send. So now this order was moved to the completed status. The customer's going to receive an email momentarily with links to get to that page where they can pay and download. So what I mean by that page is they're just going to get a link directly to this page. They can see that the order is completed, it's unpaid. They can see this is typically the address, their name, and the name of your company. Then they're just going to click pay and download files. So from here, they're going to be able to see a line item invoice. They can download that invoice, and then they can go on to pay that invoice. And they'll be able to see a history of their payments, so if they paid a deposit or so on. And there's optionally, you can store credit cards, so they can just pay out of that. In my case, I'm not going to pay myself. I'm just going to go ahead and manually flag this order to paid. When they pay via the invoice page, it automatically flags the order to paid. But at any time, I can manually set it to paid to unlock those files. So this payment status is the only thing that is the gate between whether the files are locked or unlocked. So now you can see there's no pay and download button. It's just download. And if I scroll down, I'm able to download full size MLS of my assets. The video, again, the branded or unbranded would be here if I have those. I can also just click download and get all my links organized there. So from your customer's perspective, they're all done. They've got their assets. And if that's all you cared about for this video, then you can stop. However, if you want to learn more about how you do things like single property websites, the flyer builder, invoices, rescheduling, then please hang on with me for a few more minutes. So let's start with rescheduling. I'm going to go ahead and move this order back to in progress, and we'll just pretend that the order hasn't been delivered. Let's say the customer needs you to reschedule before the photographer's gotten out there. Well, if you're rescheduling for them, you're just going to come up to the schedule section and click open in scheduler. Now from here, it's going to zoom down to where that shoot is. It's this guy right here. And I'm able to see quite a bit of information on this page. First of all, if I take a look on the left-hand side, I've got all of my photographers and some red dots and green dots. Well, what the red dot is corresponding to is, if you can see up here, it says 0 out of 2, 0 out of 2, and this one says 2 out of 2. What's that corresponding to is, is that photographer skilled in the services for that shoot? So we can see, as an example, this obviously isn't accurate. As an example, we can see that Steven doesn't have those skills, but Felix does. In addition, we can see if my photographers are within the service area for the shoot or outside. So because this guy is outside my service area, I'm just going to uncheck him. I don't really want to look at him. What also I can see from here is I can see external events for my photographers, other shoots for my photographers, and these gray hashes are just saying that this photographer is unavailable for the shoot. But I can at any time manually override that just by clicking and dragging the order. So I can just assign it right over to Felix or click and drag it to a different date and time. If I want to have a little bit more finesse control over this, I can just click this little edit icon, change the date, the time, who the photographer is. I can add additional photographers, and then I can optionally notify the participant, send updates, or that sort of thing. And then I would just click Save Event. So that's rescheduling and assigning different photographers. Let's go back out. In addition, changing invoices. So under the sales section, I've got Change Invoice. I can click on this, and I can do things like editing or deleting any fees. I can click an add item to add a coupon, discount, or other miscellaneous fee, and just hit Save. It's as simple as that. If I want to change what services are involved in the order, I need to come to Project, and I can click Add Service under the Services. It's going to give me a list of all my services in their different categories. And so let's say this customer added on the city lifestyle photos. I can hit Add Services, and then I can optionally choose, do I want to update the invoice amount, and do I want to update the calendar event? Maybe this is a service that you're offering for free as like a little apology to the customer, so you could just toggle that off and not update your invoice. And we'll just hit Confirm. And now this is just confirming, hey, this invoice or the calendar event has changed. Are you sure you do or don't want to update the customer? I'll hit Skip for now. Now, finally, removing a service. We're just going to click on this little chat bubble icon in the bottom left-hand corner. We just need to click on the triple dots, hit Archive, and then optionally we can update the invoice amount or not. Finally, single property websites and flyer builders. So if your customer is buying a single property website or a flyer, I actually recommend that you go ahead and just enable these when it's still in the pending status. You do this as part of your quality control. The reason I recommend that is because it's easy to forget. And when you sync your files, let me click Sync again. If you have these turned on, we are going to ask you, hey, do you want to send the same assets that you're pulling into the delivery experience? Do you want to dump those into the website and flyer builder as well? So I can say yes. So this way, by turning on the website and flyer builder first, it just saves a step. I don't have to resync. So that has already synced up. Now, I've got more thorough videos on how to handle the website and flyer builder. The short of it is that these assets are going to be available to the customer once they're published, just like any other assets. So they're currently not published, but we get those published up, and then they would appear on this page, just like everything else. But like I said, I've got other videos on those. So that is how you are going to manage 95% of your orders. Yes, there are going to be niche cases where you need to do tricky different little things. However, we will be more than happy to cover those things with you on a case-by-case basis as those come up. If you've got any questions, please reach out to somebody here at Tonimo, and thank you. You have